Hi, my name is Kelly Creech. I am a BSN RN studying family nurse practitioner at Southeastern Louisiana University. Here is a presentation on how to eat well, eat different kinds of foods for different for nutrition, but ultimately with the goal of weight loss in mind. So the first thing I want to say and emphasize about this project and about learning how to eat well is that it's really hard. It's hard to not be overwhelmed by the choices in the grocery store. It's not easy to consider everything you have been taught about food and how food means, what food means to you and your family, and just take all of that away in order to lose weight. It's very difficult, and um, but recognizing that you want to learn and that um, there's potential for you to do better is the first step. So let's get going. Good job on taking the first step. The basics of nutrition um, is that there's three macronutrients and then several micronutrients for every food. A lot of people, particularly people who work out a lot, will count macronutrients as how they balance their nutrition out. So that involves counting the grams of protein, grams of carbs, and grams of fat in every food that they eat. So we'll go over some things like that, but in general, this slideshow is to learn about all the different kinds of value that food has and how to balance them out in your life. So the first thing we want to look at is your habits. So the first thing we want to do in the morning when we wake up is to eat within 2 hours. That's going to jumpstart your body's uh, metabolism and get you going for a strong start on your day. Alternatively, at bedtime, you want to stop eating 2 hours before you plan to fall asleep. So having a regular schedule makes defining those times very easy. You also want to drink a lot of water, so at least half an ounce per pound of body weight um, every day, which is a lot. You want to drink more water than that if you are doing an activity that involves a lot of sweating, like, exercising or something like that, or just being around in August in Louisiana. You want to move your body intentionally for at least 60 minutes, 5 or more days per week. So a very good way to do that is going for walks, and you don't have to do all of that in 1 hour straight. If you can do a 30-minute walk before dinner and a 30-minute walk after dinner or something like that, however you can. And if you need to start with a smaller amount of exercise and increase that as time goes on, then obviously that would also work. Um, the Everything you eat should be comprised of protein, fiber, and a healthy fat. Those three things will help you feel full longer and decrease your desire to continue snacking. And macros, as I mentioned, are protein, fat, and carbs. Some fast facts about nutrition. Calories are the basic unit of energy that your body considers. So calories in and calories out is how your body manages energy. The Mediterranean diet is a natural diet based on the foods that grow and thrive in the Mediterranean area of Europe. Things like olives, grapes, fish and shellfish, obviously olive oils, and many, many others, foods in that area have been researched and are being shown to not only help a person achieve and maintain a healthy weight, but also can reduce the risks of cardiovascular disease. Fiber, I'm sure we hear a lot about fiber. It has some research showing that it can lower your bad cholesterol levels, which is LDL, and it slows your digestion so that you feel full longer, again, to reduce snacking. Carbs are quick energy sources and they aid your digestion. Proteins build and repair cells and tissue in your body. And fats transport your vitamins and stores energy. It also helps keep you warm, which I'm sure we all know. Okay, so first we're going to talk about protein. The things that we want to do for protein is to eat a lot of it. It's the building blocks of our entire body, used to repair all sorts of things when they go wrong, from everything from a paper cut to um, repairing, healing from surgery. So a lot of Americans' best choice for protein is high in fat. So things like delicious steaks, fried chicken. We want to avoid the high fat choices. So most of the time we want to eat low fat protein. We can have medium fat protein once or twice a week and high fat protein once or twice a month. Here's some examples of protein sources. So meat, poultry, and seafood. We want to look for lean beef. So the 96% lean, 4% fat in the ground beef. Same thing with pork. Chicken and turkey breasts are very lean. Um, Fish and shellfish, abundance of those here in Louisiana. And eggs, very inexpensive and huge variety of ways we can incorporate eggs into our diet. Beans, peas, and lentils include black, brown, pinto, red, soy, and white beans, chickpeas, black-eyed peas, split peas, and lentils. So of note, green peas and green beans are not in this category. And then nuts, seeds, and soy. So that includes almonds, cashews, peanuts, pinto beans, pecans, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds. A few other bonus sources of protein include Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Especially if you choose the low-fat varieties of these, you will get a lot of bang for your buck with every bite. And then protein shakes, powders, and protein bars may have a lot of added sugar, so you want to balance that out, but they can be a good source of protein or even added protein in your daily life. You may want to choose a protein shake that's like a liquid one already made to for creamer in your coffee. You may want to have a protein powder add to your smoothies to boost the protein content of a smoothie. So now we're going to talk about fruits and vegetables, you new BFFs. Vegetables, very valuable for your diet. So not only are they full of good things for you like vitamins and minerals, help every single thing in your body do better. There's a lot of fiber, there's not a lot of calories, and very low carbs. So all of this adds up to foods that can be very tasty, despite however you were raised on them, can and can really bulk up your diet and increase the amount of fiber you have so that you feel full longer. So you can also decrease your carbs by increasing your vegetables with a few simple swaps. So instead of spaghetti, try hearts of palm linguine, spiralized beets, squash, and carrots, or zoodles, zucchini noodles. You can also use hearts of palm lasagna sheets. Instead of rice, you can have riced cauliflower or broccoli. I personally find that mixing riced cauliflower in with my regular rice makes it last a little long, like go a little further in whatever dish I'm having, so I can have what feels like to me more rice without actually having more rice. And then instead of potatoes, you could try mashed cauliflower. Here's a few more non-starchy vegetables. So squash, and some specific ways to cook them. So squash, slice thin and roast it, season it with oregano and garlic. Broccoli, roast it with salt and pepper. Carrots, I personally love roasted. I don't want to put roasted for every single thing here. Um, you can have a bag of steamed carrots from frozen and add a drizzle of honey and cinnamon. You want to go light on the honey. For cauliflower, you could try cauliflower crust for pizza. Green beans, again, roasted with salt and pepper. And once they're hot coming out of the oven, toss some grated Parmesan on them. Tomatoes, also excellent in Louisiana. And there's an abundance of ways you can incorporate tomatoes into your life. Now, the key to enjoying fruits is to watching for added sugars, which are commonly found in canned fruit and in fruit juices. Even some dried fruit snacks can have added sugar, so just be careful with that. So here's the way we are going to look at our fruit intake. The good way to have some fruit, the better way to have some fruit, and the best way to have some fruit. So having fruit juice is good, but it's really high in sugar, and even if there's no added sugar to juice, it can still spike your blood sugar, which can make your body want to hold on to fat longer, even if you're not worried about your blood sugars because you're not diabetic. Dried fruits, here's a list of fruits you can commonly find in dried varieties. Personally love craisins or dried cranberries. Again, you have to look for low added sugar on those. And then fresh and frozen fruits, I mean, pretty much any other fruit you can think of is an excellent way to have some fruit in your life. And if you pick fresh or frozen, you're getting more bang for your buck again there. A lot of fruit contains water, which can be very filling, so fruit can make a really great snack. All right, we're going to talk about bread and starch, which is, my favorite. Does healthy bread exist? It is the top of everybody's mind. There's studies, there's articles, there's social media posts on how to have healthy bread. So, first of all, it's not impossible to eat healthy and still have bread. But the thing you want to look at, there's two things you want to look at in particular. The kind of wheat or grain in the bread product and your serving size. So all of your bread are 90 to 95% of the bread choices you make should be 100% whole wheat or 100% whole grain. If you look at those words on the packaging. And you also want to monitor your serving size. Bread's very carbohydrate heavy, so be careful to not go overboard on too much of a good thing. So a lot of breads have added sugars. You want to monitor those things. It's not impossible to have bread, and I'm not saying to cut it out. I'm not even saying to never have the white breads or po' boy breads, your white spaghetti, white rice ever again. All I'm saying is be conscious most of the time on these things. Being pro-fiber is the main reason that we want to watch for whole wheat and whole grains. So soluble fiber, which is most commonly found in whole wheat and whole grains, increases the bulk of stool to make it easier to have a bowel movement. And some studies are suggesting a high dietary fiber diet will reduce the risk of colon cancer and the level of bad cholesterol in your bloodstream. Again, that's LDL. So let's look at the proportions of what is in a single serving of bread. So that might be one slice of Wonder Bread or a 6-inch piece of whole wheat French bread, whatever we're looking at here. So the most we have is 80 to 100 calories per serving. So that can be a lot of calories out of your day. 15 to 20 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein, a trace amount of fat, and a various amount of fiber. Again, driving it home, 100% whole wheat and whole grain have the most fiber. These are different ways you can have bread and starch in your life. So chips, crackers, pretzels, popcorn. Popcorn is actually a grain. It is made from corn. You want to watch how much added fat, especially butter, can be added. There's butter alternatives. There's popcorn made with sunflower oil that is lighter in terms of the fat that you have and is a good balance of flavor with the benefit of the whole grain. Chips, you can look for whole wheat tortilla chips or make your own from whole wheat tortilla. Crackers, Triscuits, and things like that. Lots of whole wheat options there. Pretzels can also be whole wheat, but that's a little more difficult to balance. You will also get some carbs in bread from cereals, grits, granola, oatmeal, rice, quinoa, pasta, sushi rolls, pretty much the bulk of a grocery store, the bulk of a diet. Again, we're watching for whole wheat or whole grain and low amounts of added sugar. Starchy vegetables like potatoes and corn can also be a good source of carbs for you. Sandwich breads, bagels, tortilla, and pitas are all also more sources of bread. And the final point, which is the first point about bread, is to remember that 100% whole wheat or 100% whole grain bread should be your first choice as often as possible. Okay, so now let's talk about milk and dairy. So there's a lot of different choices of milk that you can have, and therefore a lot of different choices of milk products that you can have. So should you stick to cow's milk? Should you try something else? Really, it's up to you. What do you like? What is affordable for you? What is lasts the longest in your house so you're not throwing away food that is has gone bad when you had every intention to eat it? So cow's milk does tend to have a higher proportion of carbs, but it also has more protein. There's a lot of other milks. We've got coconut, hemp, almond, soy. They tend to be sweetened because they tend to be harder to enjoy on their own. So companies bulk them up with sugar to make them more viable and desirable. But there are some unsweetened milks in those categories. So whatever you like, they tend to have fewer carbs and less protein, but just as much calcium. So really aiming for the calcium content of these products, pick what you like and stick with it. Now we're going to talk about fats in our diet. So there's 4 main kinds of fat in everything that has fat in it. First, and they don't always have all 4, I misspoke. So there's 4 different kinds of fat whenever there is fat in a product. Might be one or multiple combinations of this. So there's monounsaturated fat, which is a small, dense kind of fat. It's called mono because it has only one carbon molecule. Polyunsaturated is similar in shape and function, but it has more than one carbon molecule. So you can kind of group those together into unsaturated fats as a whole category. Then we have saturated fats, which are big and light, like a bubble of oil when you mix oil and water together. You can think of them, even though they're less dense, when they get into your blood system, they block things up and they accumulate and lead to atherosclerosis. So we don't want that. Saturated fats tend to be in animal products. And then there's trans fats, which is a kind of fat made from vegetable oils where they have added hydrogen to the vegetable oils to make them more solid and last longer and more delicious. This is not great. Trans fats actually have been deemed a non-safe food for human consumption by the USDA. So we want to put trans fats on the very bottom of our list as often as possible. And the main way we find trans fats is from deep fryers in commercial kitchens. So make your own French fries at home, bake them or roast them instead of frying them. Just really want to avoid fried foods at all times. So unsaturated fats, as I said, they can be grouped together. So unsaturated fats can decrease your bad cholesterol and increase your good cholesterol. So if you're looking at your lab results, you're not sure which is which. LDL is bad. You can think of that as L for low. You want that number to be low. And HDL is good. You want H is high. You want that number to be higher. Saturated fats can increase that bad cholesterol number, that LDL, and increase your risk of disease, cardiac disease, and cardiovascular disease, and the subsequent complications of those, which are things like heart attacks and strokes. Let's balance our fat intake. We want very little saturated fat and a lot of unsaturated fat whenever you're talking about the fat portion of your diet. Here's some great sources of fat for you. So plant-based fats in general, avocado, margarine, mayo. From nuts and seeds, we have almonds, pecans, peanuts, walnuts, all sorts of nuts there. Oils include corn oil, olive, canola, and avocado oils. I personally like to roast things with either olive or avocado oils. And then animal-based fats. Now, these are going to be your source of saturated fat, so we want to keep this category as low as possible, as often as possible. So we have delicious things like bacon, butter, cheese, and cream here. very disappointing to say we need to reduce the amount of these foods that we have, but in the long term, you're not only building towards weight loss, you're building towards a reduction of your risk of a cardiac event that could seriously alter the course of your life. So just keep that category low. For number 5, we're going to talk about how to keep ourselves hydrated. Water is the answer to this question. We want to drink water. We want to drink it all day, every day. We want to have at least half an ounce per pound of body fat as our goal. So if you weigh 150 pounds, that means you want 75 ounces per day. A reusable water bottle makes drinking water very affordable because you're already paying for water to come into your house, and then you just fill it up with a water bottle. It pays for itself after like 2 24-packs of the plastic bottles. It's good for the environment to use a reusable water bottle. It's cheaper when you go to restaurants to just have plain water. It can be hard because sometimes it feels very bland and boring, but there's different ways that you can make your water intake work for you and make it more interesting. So these are a few of my favorite tips and tricks. Add flavor to your water. You could cut up an orange, a lemon, a lime. You could add watermelon. You could add strawberries. You could cut up some blueberries. Add those to your water to increase the flavor. Try different combos. Blueberry and mint is a great combination to make your water more interesting. You can reach out and try some sparkling water instead of flat water. So just to mix it up sometimes, again, this won't go towards the benefits of drinking water out of your sink necessarily, but sometimes if you're missing sodas, having some sparkling water might be that answer. There's flavored sparkling waters like LaCroix, and then you can just buy regular plain sparkling water. You want to be careful about buying tonic water because even though it does have that sparkle, it can have other additives that mess with your balance. So it's not your electrolyte balance. So it's not really, you're not really getting the benefit of drinking water if you're drinking all sparkling water, all tonic water all the time. And then the temperature of your water. Some people have researched and said that maybe room temperature water tends to be better for you because your body doesn't have to warm it up first. But honestly, I don't care. Drink the water. Do whatever it takes to drink the water. If you need to drink, put more ice than water in your cup every time you fill it up, do it. If, whatever it takes, if it needs to be icy cold, just make it work. You really need that water for your body functions, especially to keep your kidneys working great and your hair soft, your skin soft. Water is like just the number one best thing you can do for yourself. Now here's some other beverages that people in America / New Orleans tend to enjoy. So coffee and tea. I'm preaching to myself here. I love coffee, drink it every single day. Coffee black is barely more than water. It's basically flavored water. But when you add a lot of sugars, you add a lot of creamers, you go to Starbucks and you've got the syrups and the foam and the shaken and whatever else you add to it, that's when it really ramps up and becomes unhealthy. So for coffee, you want to, as close to black as you can, as often as you can, work every day to reduce how much sweetener or sugar you add to your coffee, and the creamers. For sodas, we really want to enjoy sodas very rarely. Even the ones that are diets or no sugar sodas still is a lot of sugar, and it's just not adding a lot to our lives other than emotional satisfaction. So you want to reduce the amount of sodas you drink. Alcohol can be very dehydrating. In fact, it is dehydrating. So we want to reduce our alcohol intake when we're talking about losing weight. It also is a bunch of sugar. Literally, the chemical of alcohol is a sugar. So even if you have a low sugar drink, you're still having sugar because that's the nature of the alcohol. Managing your sugar levels by what you eat is a good way to manage your diet overall. So I'm not saying not to celebrate or enjoy drinks whenever you have something to enjoy, but we just don't want to be reaching for that alcohol multiple times per week or really more than a few times per month. So I know what you're thinking. I hear you. I've heard all this before, but you know what? This sounds like the most boring diet possibly of all time, maybe ever. Let me tell you how often you can have the things you like. And honestly, learning how to eat healthy is learning how to eat well the vast majority of the time, and then really enjoy the things that you love whenever you do get the chance to have them. So we're looking at high sugar, high fat treats. So my favorite, ice cream, cake, cookies, pancakes with syrup, all those kinds of things. Want to really aim for those kind of monthly at mm, kind of monthly at the most. We want to have fried foods maybe every other week or even less. If you can cut any of these things out completely, all the better for you. You can have 1 to 2 sodas a week, and then coffee, tea, things like that, you can have 1 or 2 a day. Okay, this has been a lot of information. Let's break it down and make it easier. Let's take a few small steps on how to improve our diet and our weight and our prognosis on developing complications from being overweight. Step 1, let's dramatically increase our water intake. Let's do that by carrying a bottle around with us, picking water at restaurants every single time we go out. Anything you can think of, make your water cold, make your water flavored, whatever you can do to increase that water intake. Now, step 2, don't go clean out your pantry. I don't want you to waste anything you already have. But as you run out of the Wonder Bread or the sandwich, the pita or whatever you have, replace them with 100% whole wheat or 100% whole grain products, and don't buy the white breads anymore. Try to find 100% whole wheat or grain product that works for your kids, that your kids enjoy, that you can also benefit from without having the Wonder Bread in the house. Get enough servings of vegetables every day. So this one can be hard, especially if you're not used to vegetables, you don't know how to enjoy them. Start with frozen veggies that you can throw in the microwave and steam. Olive oil, salt, and pepper when they come out. Very simple, really quite delicious. Checks the box, and then move on. And then we want to look at our portion sizes. So I'm not really driving home the point of portion sizes in this particular education, but it's important to know that how much you eat is really part of how we gain weight. And partially from our history as Americans with the Great Depression and things like that, we really have ginormous serving sizes. So really look at how much is a serving of whatever you're eating. And now I don't want you to worry about this so much until you've done these other 3 steps first. Do 1 step at a time. Make it very achievable for yourself. If you set huge goals that are very lofty and then you fall short of them because there's so much all at once within a few days of setting them, it's very discouraging and you're less likely to stick with this. So again, baby steps. On step 4, we want to look at our portion sizes and get out the measuring cups and spoons and the kitchen scale and just try to monitor how much we're actually eating. Even if all you do for the first week is put however much on your plate and use a measuring cup or a scale to determine how much that is so that you know how much you're actually eating, you're going to have a huge benefit from that. So lastly, I want to introduce you to a free website and a free app. So it's called MyPlate. MyPlate.gov is an easy way to look at how to balance your nutrition. It replaced the food pyramid of the 90s, which is what I grew up with, on how much of each kind of food you want to eat per day. So you can go to the website. This is one of the screens that you can see. It's myplate.gov. You can take a quiz for it to personalize an eating plan for you, how many calories, how many macros of each per day that you want to take in. The best part about it, though, is the MyPlate app. So you can download this app from the Google Play Store or the App Store and look at your nutrition anywhere and anytime. You can use it for ideas on what to buy, grocery lists, ways to save money while shopping, all sorts of ways and things that you can do in order to meet your goals. And you can keep it all in the palm of your hand with an app that you don't have to pay for. So that checks a lot of boxes. All right, this is some references from information that I used to create this slideshow. And again, my name is Kelly Creech, and this was a slideshow about eating healthy and what foods do for you and how to manage the foods that you eat so that you can achieve your nutrition goals, but overall achieve weight loss goals with the intent of eating healthier, becoming a more well person, and avoiding long-term comorbidities associated with being obese or overweight. Thanks for having me.